Thanks, Kelly. Hey, Bronx. Welcome to this week's Rundown Sports Report. We start out by looking at the women's softball team, who recorded an impressive 12-4 victory over University of Hartford. The team was led by freshman Emily Cottrell, who was able to record her first 2 college home runs. Thanks, Jim. Hey, Bronx. Welcome to this week's Rundown Sports Report. We start off this week on a high note thanks to the performance of both the men's and women's swimming and diving teams in the MAC Championship. The women's team managed a second-place finish for the 4th year in a row, whereas the men's team won the conference title for the 2nd year in a row by outscoring second-place Marist by a score of 20 points. Riders Trevor Hiller picked up the title of Riders' Outstanding Diver of the meet, whereas Kelly O'Connor was the female co-outstanding swimmer at the meet. Thanks, Jim. Hey, Bronx. Welcome to this week's Rundown Sports Report. In case you were having way too much fun on Valentine's Day to care about rider sports, don't worry, I got you covered like snow on a park bench. The Rider men's basketball team found themselves holding an overall record of 14-13 and 9-6 in the MAC conference as they pick up their 8th win in 12 games after beating St. Peter's by a score of 72-57 Thursday night. Whereas the women's basketball team looks for a win against Loyola, Maryland to get back to 500. The games will be available this Sunday on ESPN3 if you prefer the comfort of a cozy bed to the cold outside air. You don't have to be a scientist to know that hard work pays off. Well, February's female athlete of the month is Lataza Coleman. Her effort in track and field led to a record-breaking performance in the 55, 60, and 200-meter sprints, as well as a high jump. All this as a redshirt freshman. Coleman is also ranked at first in the MAC conference in all these events except the 55-meter dash. Thanks, Amanda. We start off this week's segment with a look at the men's soccer team, who saw the 3-game winning streak come to an end at the hands of NJIT on Wednesday. Wilder took the lead in the first half through an 18-yard strike by freshman Christian Flath. NJIT were quick to respond with 2 goals within 10 minutes of each half to seal the win. Ryder squares off against Seton Hall on Wednesday, where they will hope to get back to winning ways. The MLS season will come to a close on Saturday when the LA Galaxy face the Houston Dynamo in what is meant to be David Beckham's last game in America. Well, that's all the soccer you're going to get out of me for this week. Happy holidays. On to other news. This weekend, in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, Manchester United face up against Chelsea. What are your takes on this matchup? Well, I picked the West to win, but I think he's a little bit delirious. I think that's way too much. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be like a 10, 15-minute point. That's going to be the gap. The West is going to win. Chris Paul is going to be phenomenal in the game. Kobe Bryant is going to be dropping buckets 24/7.
Over, under 5 assists for Kobe Bryant.
Oh, definitely under. Have you not met the man?
Well,
does he have a pass?
Lately, he's been dishing the ball.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
Well, that's because the Lakers suck this year. That's what he has to do. He's developed his game, so he has to pass for the Lakers to win. But in the All-Star game, it's different. It's all about the pizzazz.
I say he tries to show it off. He goes alley-oops to everyone, I bet.
Yeah, at home it could even be like a 3-2 or a 3-1 win. I see him scoring goals.
Don't forget the fact that Bayern Munich made it all the way to the final last year and got knocked out of it by Chelsea. So I think that
in a disappointing, heartbreaking loss.
Yeah, to Chelsea. Certainly, but it was a lovely game. Having that, all the players, or most of the players that are on the Bayern Munich team right now, were there in the stadium. They saw what happened, and now having made it all the way to the semifinals, this is where you start believing that yes, our name can be on the cup.
Absolutely.
He's just 2 games away from the final.
All these teams should be thinking championship at this point.
I looked up online. You have about 11 new freshmen.
Yeah.
How do you integrate that into the team? Because I noticed a good number of them actually for European players. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, and everyone's got a different way of playing, but everyone likes to play when you're trying to keep possession of the ball. I mean, no one wants to just lump long balls forward. No one wants to bypass the midfield, and so we spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time playing. We spend a lot of time trying to get our guys to play under pressure. So we might play a 9 versus 9, 11 versus 11 on a half field, or sometimes even smaller, with the idea that every time the player gets a ball in training, that he's under pressure. so that when it happens to them in a game, it doesn't faze them as much.
But I mean, it's a result that they wanted, definitely against Celtic.
Yeah. You're talking about Celtic, and I watched the game. Barcelona looked out of sorts. I actually
Yeah,
thought that
they did.
that Celtic would have pulled the win if Brown hadn't gotten the the red card for fouling Neymar,
Yeah,
which I think
definitely.
it was
It was kind of ridiculous.
yeah, it was ridiculous, and it was more out of anger and fury.
Fury.
But if Celtic had played the second half with 11 players, then I'd favour them nicking the points. I was watching transfer deadline day, and I was watching Jim White do his thing, and that's the one transfer that I didn't really see coming. Like I didn't think that Ozil would ever leave Real Madrid because the players there love him.
Me too. And again, Ozil only being worth 50 million euros.
Welcome to this week's episode of Primetime Football. I'm your host, Sam Moko, with my co-host, Alex Valerio. Let's start from the top. Champions League football.
So many games.
So many games.
Good games.
Yeah, okay.
I think we start off with Barcelona, Man City. 2-0 win for Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about
Do
it.
you think there's any hope that Man City might turn away, maybe score 3 goals away?
The thing is, if they played in Barcelona and Barcelona beat them 2-0, they're at home. They would probably have the advantage going into the home game, in England.
Yeah.
But it was vice versa. So I don't think in any way that they're going to be able to score 3 goals against Barcelona at home.
But I feel like if they certainly have the attacking power to pull off such an upset. I mean, Barcelona is not really the same Barcelona from like 2 years ago.
No, they're not.
So they're slightly weaker. But I think Manchester City have to go attack from the very first minute and try to push Barcelona and try to make Barcelona make some mistake. One of the main reasons why Barcelona ended up scoring 2 goals, which really shouldn't have happened, is because Man City allowed Barcelona to have possession of the ball for a good portion of the game, and that effect led to the goals. Who do you think has the best chance of winning the Premier League this season?
The best chance, I'm going to have to put it between Chelsea and Man United, but Man United is going to come out on top.
So I have different.
Because you're
points.
biased.
No, I'm not being biased.
Yeah.
Look. Manchester United. They don't have a midfield. That worries me. All they have is Rooney and Van Persie.
Who's been playing exceptional after he came back, and now he's actually playing games.
Yes.
He's got a hat trick already.
He got about 2 weeks ago he got injured, and that was a game after the Chelsea game, which was a 2-2 draw, and then they looked dead. They lost to Liverpool, and they didn't look the same. Without Rooney,
Sam.
Manchester United is done. He's not going to be there. He's not healthy enough to pull out and play all 40 games this season, and Champions League, and Capital One Cup, and FA Cup.
Okay,
I don't think that's going to happen.
And then we have, who else?
Who? Van
Van Persie.
Van Persie. There you go.
Okay,
That's it.
To be honest, Rooney didn't even play last season, and look what they did. Towards the end of the season, look how easily they were destroying teams.
But look,
without Rooney, and Rooney was in there.
But look, his situation. Look at Chelsea. Look at what they have there right now. Juan Mata, Eden Hazard. Ashley Cole is playing really good left back. Ivanovic, really good at right back. They have Schürrle, they just picked him up. All Chelsea needs right now is a striker. Between Samuel Eto'o, Torres, and Demba Ba, it's not the strongest set of strikers, but that's basically it. They just need a striker. Yeah. Either one of them has to step up, and Chelsea's complete. They have arguably one of the best midfields in the Premier League currently, and a really strong defense, and that's exactly what you need.
So ask yourself this. With that said, what was Chelsea's final score of the last game?
I seem to have a little memory lapse in my judgment.
Well, the last, it was actually 2-1. To what team?
I don't know. Some team in Switzerland. I don't know.
Okay, let's just say some team.
Basel. They lost 2-1 to Basel.
In Switzerland. That says something, okay, because this is the Champions League. And then with that said, Mourinho comes in and apparently supposed to make
that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Exactly my point. They don't have a striker. They looked dead in that game. They were flat the whole half.
Okay.
I'm surprised Austin scored.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's going to take them a while to get steam, and by the time they get steam, because Mourinho's back, they still have to construct everything, I guess you could say. Look at what they did, and that's going to continue for a bit, just like they did last season. Once they get to a certain point, then they start winning games. But then by that time,
it was too late last season.
It's going to be too late.
It was too late. But here's the situation, though. You're talking about that. UEFA Champions League.
I'm
right?
just saying games in general. The
Oh, okay.
teams,
Aye,
them
aye, aye.
playing, winning, and losing games. Because that's the Champions League. They should be doing good, especially against
But,
some team from
but we got
Switzerland.
there's home ties and away ties. So we got 5 more games. We win 4 of those games. We're basically through the next qualifying round.
Yeah, you.